Yes, welcome back from your long term. Seleko Allan once again, representing to online. I'm back for chemistry and biology. Today, I'm going to do something simple, that is simplifying the former UNEB paper, the previous one, the senior fours have just sat. We want to see, was it so difficult or simple? As the coming senior fours and senior threes and twos right now, and the incoming senior ones, can we really attempt anything? Was the paper so difficult? Uh, did we teach the exact things? Did we give the things the way you never brought them? It's what we want us to see. Back on little bunnies again, Kasenge. We said it is a kindergarten and primary school. Any parent close to Budo Kasenge, any nearby place, Nakasozi, and so on, STEM. It is a recommendable school with very nice things. Classes are good. They have space where your kids can play from and so on. So, not to go into details, I want us to start with giving a proposed guide on how the learners had to respond to this paper. Like we already said, still the paper came with two sections, section A and section B. Section A still had two items that were compulsory, like we used to say. Nothing changed. Remember, this is chemistry. We are here for chemistry today. For section A, they brought two items that were compulsory, and we are to fill in the spaces that were provided. I'm looking at the paper, it is right here. We have section A that had item 1 and 2 that were compulsory with spaces where we could fill the responses. And then section B had part 1 and part 2, like we used to say. The section B had part 1 and part 2. Like we said, part 1 had two items, item 3 and item 4, from which you were to attempt 1, and item 5 and 6 were of part 2, from which you attempt one of them. I want us to simplify this to try to bring to your knowledge that the paper was very simple. Actually, it was the simplest paper of all the papers the senior fours attempted. I will go straight to the items. I will not talk a lot. Item 1 came from nuclear chemistry or atomic chemistry, and this is one of the last topics in senior 4. Item 2 was a combination of a number of topics. It had some bit of elements, compounds, and molecules. It had a bit of bonding, and it also had molar concepts, stoichiometry, and formulae. So this is a senior 1 topic, this is a senior 2 topic, and this was a senior 3 topic. So it was a combination of a number of topics. But it was very simple to those who read and to those who follow me online. Item 2, part 2 of section, part 1 of section B was from element of construct 1, like we usually see, where they brought extraction of copper and manufacture of cement. Two simple concepts that were very simple. And then part 2, the one about the natural resources. They brought 2 natural resources. Those are rocks and minerals, and then forests, vegetations, and water. And the items were very simple, like we are going to see. I'll go straight to item 1. Item 1 is a senior 4 topic, and I'm very sure most of you you haven't covered this yet. I'm sure. So I don't want to bring something new right now before we look at it. Maybe we shall look at it during this holiday, and then we shall come back to the topic, to the question. It is very simple. It is actually the simplest question in this paper. So whoever had covered this, it even had some bit of common knowledge. Identify the type of bomb that was used. Even when you watch movies, you can remember that it was a nuclear bomb. So I will not go into details of this. I will not teach it today. We shall cover the topic first, and then I'll come back. You shall find that even if I don't talk about it, you'll be able to respond to it. I want us to start with item 2. Item 2 reads, an industry wanted to produce lime for treatment of acidic soils. The production of lime involves heating limestone strongly, which results into decomposition according to the equation. So the equation they are giving is as follows. The limestone, which is calcium carbonate in solid state, was heated strongly to give calcium oxide in solid state and carbon dioxide, which is a gas. So this is the equation they gave us. The industry is also interested to know how much gas is involved during the process, since the gas is useful. So the company wanted to know, the company was interested of knowing how much of this gas can be evolved when this calcium carbonate is heated, when the limestone is heated. And they even carried out an experiment. Before the production, an experiment was performed when 25 grams of limestone were heated until there was no further change. So they heated 25 grams of this limestone until there was no further change. You have been contacted for help. Before we go in further, before going to the details of the tasks, for one to respond well to these items of new curriculum, you have to critically read and then interpret, analyze well and interpret the scenario. Pick the chemistry as you read, analyze, underline the key points that you may need in the responses. They are talking about which chemicals now? The chemistry they are talking about is heating of limestone. What is limestone? It is calcium carbonate. Forming what? They are talking of lime, which is calcium oxide, and carbon dioxide. They are not disclosing them well. So the task is as follows. As a chemistry learner, explain. This is part A. Explain this word, the categories of the products. So if you remember very well, if you are to go back to senior 2, where we form equations, in an equation, we have always chemical species at our left-hand side. For example, A, let's give 2 this time, A and B. They are always separated by an equation like it is in the other equation, giving certain species at the product side. I mean, at your right-hand side. If you don't know how to interpret equations, what is at your left-hand side are the ones we call the reactants. The arrow separating them is standing for English words which are to form, to evolve, to liberate, and so many other things. And it is on this arrow where always the condition is represented on the arrow. And what is on the right-hand side of your equation are always the products. Are always the products. You never know. Next time they may bring a scenario where one is supposed to write the equation as described in the scenario as a task. So just know how to do this. So the plus sign on the reactant side stands for this reacts with, so this one stands for reacts with, but the plus on the product side stands for and. So if we are to interpret this equation in words, is A reacts with B to form or to evolve or to liberate C and D. So that is an equation. So if we are to go back to the other equation, they are saying that when this limestone, which is calcium carbonate, now we have a single reactant. The condition now here was heating, strong heating. When the limestone is strongly heated, we form, we say the arrow represents the condition, and the other English words we say, to form calcium oxide, and the plus sign is now and the carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide and lime are the products. So the question is, explain the categories of the products. So when they tell you to explain, what they will mark, they expect to mark the correct category and the correct reason to why it is the category. And sometimes you may go on and give an example, another example. They mark CRE, category, reason, and example. So we have two products. We have calcium oxide, and these two are made up of more than one element. This one, the lime, has two elements, calcium and oxygen. This one has also two elements, carbon and oxygen. If you can see well. A substance that comprises of two elements of different kind is always referred to as a compound. It's always referred to as a compound. And the compounds are of two categories. We have ionic compounds and then covalent compounds. For a compound to be classified as ionic, it must be formed between a metal and a non-metal. Between a metallic element and a non-metallic element. By transferring of electrons from the metallic element and the electrons gained by a non-metallic element. For any element to be called, for any compound to be called a covalent compound, it must be formed by sharing of electrons between two non-metallic elements. Sharing of electrons between two non-metallic elements. So we can witness how we have two products. Is calcium a metal? If you remember very well your senior 1 and senior 2 chemistry in the periodic table, we shall find that the calcium is a metal, the oxygen is a non-metal. So this makes calcium oxide or the lime to be an ionic compound. So the category for this, we just say, is an ionic compound. And what should we take as a reason? We said it is ionic because since it is formed by transfer of electrons from a metallic element, which is calcium this time, to a non-metallic element, and this element this time is oxygen. So that makes calcium oxide an ionic compound. So they will score the correct category and the correct reason. We can give more examples. We know metals and we very well know non-metals. The metals we have, we have the likes of potassium, we have the likes of sodium, magnesium, aluminum. All these are metallic elements. Once they are combined with non-metals, they form ionic compounds. We can give more examples. For example, the aluminum oxide is an ionic compound. Sodium chloride, ionic. You go on and give more examples. So long as it is formed between a metal and a non-metal, by transferring electrons from a metal and gained by non-metallic element. So we can go on. What is the category for carbon dioxide? We very well know that carbon is a non-metallic element, and the oxygen is a metallic. It is a non-metallic element also. If we go back to the other information we wrote, the carbon dioxide qualifies to become a covalent element. So carbon dioxide was a covalent compound. Since it is formed between two non-metallic elements by sharing electrons. So these are the categories of the two products. We had only two products. We had calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So these are the categories and their respective reasons. We can give more examples. For example, ammonia. It is formed between nitrogen and hydrogen, which is also a non-metal. So this one qualifies to be a non-metallic element. A covalent compound. We can give more examples of water. Give more and more. We can give more examples of methane. The senior theories, they have covered this. It is formed between a non-metal and a non-metal by sharing electrons. So we can give more examples. So that is categorizing of compounds. Item